I'm Jared Pratt, CEO of Granite Peak Associates.
I'm Heather Piazza, Tax Manager at Granite Peak.
So our sole focus today is to tell you why we strongly favor the S Corporation as the suggested vehicle for you and your veterinary practice. So when you're starting out practice, you can go through an LLC, you can do a PLLC. Most of that is just state specific. Some states it's better to be formed as a PLLC, a professional limited liability company, than just a limited liability company. Some states like California, for a DVM owner, they don't allow either, and you're forced to be an Inc. We're not talking about that. We're forming a company through either one of those buckets, the LLC, the PLLC, or the Inc. From us, from a tax perspective, is getting that designation to be then taxed as an S corporation. It's an S election. It's a Form 2553, but it carries a lot of weight. It's how Heather and I do our jobs from a tax planning perspective. So why don't we tell you some reasons why that S corp is going to be the best vehicle for you in the short and long term?
Absolutely. So first, Jared mentioned we have to file that Form 2553 to actually elect to be an S corporation. That has to be filed within 2.5 months of entity creation. However, there are ways to file a late S election later down the road if you aren't aware of this when you first create your business.
I think to that point, I'll stop you there because we often see it. You're getting financing, you're trying to hire people, right? You got so many things going on. You forgot to tell your CPA, hey, the entity was formed. 2.5 months go by and you're like, oh, geez, I never filed that S election. So there is relief. Don't worry about it. There's corrective action to take, but it's certainly not something that you want to span multiple calendar years. But let's assume, the S election was done properly. It was accepted by the IRS, which is also important. You got to be on the lookout for a letter from the IRS saying and acknowledging, I got what you filed, we're accepted and approved it, you're now an S corporation. So assuming you've done all that, you're in business, you're making money. Heather, why don't we talk to us about reasonable comp standards and you as the DVM owner and the benefits of sheltering some payroll tax?
Absolutely. So first, let's start with an S corporation is a pass-through entity. What does that mean? The profits of the company actually pass through to the owners and is taxed at the personal level. So there's no double tax at the business level and then again at the individual level. You're able to take W-2 compensation as the owner of the practice. And like Jared just mentioned, we have to set it at a reasonable compensation for what a typical DVM would be making. Above and beyond that, the profits of the company are actually able to be distributed out to the owner, and those distributions to the owner are considered tax-free payments to the owner of the company.
Yeah, well that's huge. And in later videos, we're going to kind of dive into what is reasonable comp, because we actually have a magic number. There's some thought that goes into it. The distributions are a great benefit. In addition, you're seeing like 35 states at the moment have created what's called a pass-through entity tax, right? And it's a way to shift a non-deductible expense at the personal level, what you pay in state income taxes, and then have it be taxed at the entity level. So you're saving dollars there. If you didn't do the S election, you missed that opportunity as well. So we got some payroll tax savings. We got the ability to elect into that pass-through entity tax. It helps on retirement planning, the different vehicles that you can use, whether that's simple, whether that's 401k, just big picture. It's flexible. It allows for tax minimization strategies, and come exit, it makes for a clean exit as well when you ultimately sell the assets of your business later down the road.